This is the week 2 video with Phoenix, and again, she's from California, and she's an 8-year-old red, or you could say sorrel mare. And one of the things we've been dealing with is an injury. Apparently when we got her, her feet were caked with mud. We didn't see this, and she must have put her foot in like the water trough or something, since she does really enjoy playing with it. And it filled this really big open wound, and obviously you can't just clean it up when you have a wild horse. I worked with my vet. We got her some SMZs in her food. It's like an antibiotic, and this actually looks better. I know it's bleeding, but it was a scab, and she must have just took it off. And then this is her playing in the water. I don't have any pictures or video of her putting her feet in the water, but she definitely does, because it will be quite dirty in the morning. And then with this in consideration, horse training is not linear. So when I worked with her, she was a lot harder to work with this week. We also had a lot of weather stuff to contend with. The wind was insane, which at first was hard, but it might have really been to the benefit of bugs not getting to that open wound. I can say now as I'm editing this that the wound is majority scabbed over and looks a lot better. But pretty much her looking at me was the only engagement I got that session. And I did kind of time-lapse video. I didn't want to put a lot of pressure with her, especially if that foot's really sore. And I just basically sat out there, let her eat, didn't really like ask anything of her. I know it can be dangerous to be sitting right next to a horse, but I definitely kept awareness. I knew that she was more not going to come into my space. And then this is just a time-lapse video of her just being a horse and eating, and her companion horses coming up to her. And something I will say, it was really scary breaking out the traditional role of not putting a halter on in the chute and starting off from scratch. I was afraid something might happen. And something did happen, and it's just one of those times where you just gotta trust the process, trust the method, and also say a prayer that God's gonna take care of it all. And thankfully, looking back this week, it looks a lot better.
So I start off our session asking for attachment, which she does fairly quickly, and then I am pairing it with us practicing her marking our hand and saying the marker word T, and then rewarding with food as positive reinforcement. So when she reached towards my hand, I said T, and then I gave her a reward of some hay. And then during this session, I'm just carrying a halter with me so that she gets used to me having the halter, and just to kind of get her more comfortable with its presence before we work on actually haltering her. So here I'm just waiting for her to finish eating before I make another request of her. So we're just kind of hanging out while she eats some of the hay that was dropped. When she lifts her head, I kind of move and I ask her for attachment again. And she connects pretty quickly and follows me. And so I just go to a different location of the pen to practice targeting the hand. And I was just looking for a little bit more of a commitment from her other than just the bobbing of her head. And so when she got closer to my hand, I said T, and I rewarded her with some more hay. And then again, we just kind of hang out while she's chewing it. I reach out my hand again to ask her. She gets a little closer and holds it for a little longer, so I mark it with a T, and I give her some more hay. And Muffin is being our watchful helper. Again, working on her marking my hand using the marker T. And so I'm looking for her to give me a bigger commitment than the bobbing of her head. Just kind of thinking through it because I'm asking her for a bit more. She gives me a really good commitment there, reaching out and extending her head and leaving it there. So I reward it. That is because she touched my hand, and then she comes back for the hay. Because she touched my hand and then also came back to get the hay, I gave her a big reward.